You're listening to Brainbusta Radio.
Hey, yo, Josh, let me get a little bit of reverb. Yeah. J. Will. Yeah, I'm about that lifestyle. I talk green work, repping it all over. It's right on the t-shirt. Fan for a lifetime. Yeah, that's a long pass. Figure I would show some love right on the podcast. Turn this up loud and make sure you don't do nothing else. Cause if you're listening to us, then you're improving your health. My name is J. Will. Welcome to the show, yeah. Wrestle, flow, yeah.
Welcome everybody to Wrestling Reverb. It is now officially year 2 of Wrestling Reverb. I am here. It is Josh that you're listening to right now. Kevin, what's cracking?
Nothing much. Just woke up. I'm laying in bed right now with it's thunderstorming outside.
Oh.
Very cozy.
Oh. Thunderstorms. Hey, how good honestly, I'm a thunderstorm person. Sign me up for a good thunderstorm. I love just listening to it and like being just like, laying in bed, especially listening to a thunderstorm is like, yes, please.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of it. It's so last week, of course, we had our big 1 year celebration. We kind of went back and looked at the show, in its first year. And we didn't really get to talk too much wrestling, so it is nice to be able to sit down and talk some wrestling today because we did a little bit last week, but it wasn't very much.
Yeah, now last week was more of a retrospective, and that's what it was meant to be. It wasn't like we dropped the ball on anything. But yeah, we're getting back to our roots this week, getting back to some wrestling talk.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty well noted that, well, at least on my end, it's pretty well noted with me, and if you follow me on social media, I'm pretty happy with the product at the moment. I even said to you, I believe you even agreed with me, Kevin, is that I feel like WWE's in a nice little bubble at the moment.
Yeah, they're actually doing, really well right now, I'd say. I haven't gotten a chance to watch Raw and SmackDown this week because of the new job, but from what I was able to see and hear and read, they're still clicking on all cylinders right now, and that's so refreshing.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a slump. We went through that, and we got through that, and hey, I'm always wonder. Here's a little thing for you, Kevin. I don't know if I've even said this to you, but I've actually stopped reading all wrestling dirt sheets this week. As of 3 weeks ago, I have not read any wrestling dirt sheets, and I'm just taking in wrestling for what it is. Whatever's on my screen is all I know. I'm not thinking about anything that's been advertised. I'm not thinking about anything, this person's taking time off, or this person's doing this. I'm just watching whatever's on my screen is all I know, and I always was the type of person that was like, I can't stop reading dirt sheets. I'm one of those fans that have to know everything. But the last 3 weeks of programming, I've enjoyed more than I've probably enjoyed in years, just in the fact of, I don't know anything that's going on other than what they're presenting me.
Yeah, it's very tough for you to do, too, is to completely cut out the dirt sheets, because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're so hard to avoid, so I commend you for that, because that is a tough thing to do. But it must make for a more interesting experience, definitely.
It does. It's so of course, there's a few little things that, pop up, but I'm like, I don't want to read that. I'm not, engaging myself into reading any of these things, but I'm literally seeing stuff on Twitter, and I'm muting accounts. I'm muting...
Damn.
All dirt. I'm committed. I'm just going to see how it goes for a little while. Who knows, maybe in a month's time, see if I want to jump back into them. But I'm enjoying it just for whatever they're giving me. That's all I know, and that's all I need to know. That's all we really should know at the end of the day, I think, is just... It's a television show. At the end of the day, it is a television show. It's not like we're, for the most part, reading into what's happening on any television show and going, but this person's going away and this person's doing this. It's just whatever they're kind of giving us, that's all I'm taking in. And it's just kind of nice to go a triple threat match is happening, and I can't be like, of course I'm still enamored with wrestling. I'm like, okay, that person is probably going to win or this or whatever. I know something about this person, but it's I don't know anything beyond, what's going on in the next few months, or backstage notes on this or backstage notes on that. I'm just enjoying, whatever it is. I honestly, anyone that's listening right now that's like maybe not the most satisfied with WWE's product, try not reading any of that stuff on the internet, because you'll be surprised how much it changes things. Because I mean, when we were kids watching wrestling, it's not like we were seeking out dirt sheets in 2005, 2006. It's not like we were going out of our way, and of course everyone enjoyed wrestling more when they were younger. I think that's at least a little part of the reason, is that we didn't have the access to the information we do now.
Yeah, and I just wanted to go back to your point about watching TV. Isn't it weird how, like, you don't watch a regular TV show and actively look for spoilers and actively look to see what's going to happen before time?
Yeah.
So why do we do it when we watch wrestling? We're watching a TV show, but yet we're so focused on finding out what's going to happen before it happens. It's kind of weird to me.
Yeah, it's, when you say that out loud, too, it sounds even weirder, doesn't it? It's not like, whatever show you're watching, I'm really excited for the next season of Glow, okay? We've talked about Glow before, and it's not like I'm actively going out of my way to be like, is Alison Brie staying in the show, or is she getting written off? Or, like, I'm just watching Glow for whenever I watch it on Netflix. Next week it's coming out. Hey, subtle plug for Glow. Next week Glow comes out. That's exciting. It's not like I'm going out of my way, though, to see what character's doing what, or, backstage, like a friggin' filming notes on this person, or where they were spotted in this location filming this scene. I'm taking it in as I watch it. It is weird that we go out of literally people go out of their way to find these things. Nothing is organic and a surprise anymore, and sometimes we only have ourselves to blame because, nothing's a surprise because we're going out of our way to find out something. Like, let's just watch it, and I think a lot more people would be a lot less negative, or they would just react accordingly, at least.
Yeah, we would be more adaptable to the show. We would go along with the flow more often than not if we just let it come to us rather than go seek it out.
Yeah. I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, no one's going to stop, just because we're saying don't do it. People are still going to go out of their way. At least fans on the internet will. They're going to, and that's fine. Watch the product however you want to watch the product. But for right now, for me, the last few weeks have been pretty damn good just watching the television product for whatever WWE is telling me to watch.
Yeah, honest to God. Just keep watching, keep plugging, and miss those dirt sheets, Josh. It's gonna make your life a lot easier just to avoid all the brouhaha.
Yeah, I think it will be, but we'll see. We'll see how I go. We'll see if I can. It's honestly not as hard as I thought it would be to avoid them. It's just a matter of just muting it and going, I'm done with this. But hey, we'll see how long it sticks. This week has been, we talked about last week, the rumors were going around on the internet. Speaking of dirt sheets, I mean, the rumors of just everybody saying, maybe Charlotte and Trish are going to go at it at SummerSlam. I mean, those rumors came very true. This past episode of SmackDown Live, when it was made official, Charlotte and Trish Stratus will be going one-on-one at SummerSlam, and it is a meeting of generations. It is the perceived best versus the perceived best of their respective generations. It is like here's a hot take, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, Kevin, but it is the female equivalent of Icon versus Icon in a lot of ways. You have like a Hogan Rock type feel. I'm not saying it's on that exact level, but there really hasn't been this kind of match in the WWE women's wrestling world, at least. It is that kind of, it has got a bit of, it's got that feel behind it. Is that wrong of me to say? Is that maybe overhyping it?
No, I wouldn't say you're overhyping. I think you've hit it right on the head. It's two cornerstones of the division, one past, one present, squaring off. It's exactly what happened with Rock and Hogan.
Yeah.
And I think it probably won't attain that level of, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it probably won't reach that level, but it definitely will be up there. And it's going to, like, when the bell rings and those two are in the ring together, it's going to be a magical moment.
hey, I don't know if the fan participation is hard to meet in that match, but you are in Toronto, and someone in that match is from Toronto, and that would be Trish Stratus. And, you know, it's pretty easy to boo Charlotte Flair. This could be a moment like that when the crowd is so into... I mean, hey, Trish is going to be over regardless of wherever she is because she is Trish Stratus and nostalgia and she is a Hall of Famer. But in Toronto, it's hard to match that Canadian crowd, you know, with a Canadian competitor. There's not a lot of cities in the world where it's like that with, you know, the exception of a few. Toronto is one of those cities where it's like, hey, we love Toronto and we love our people from Toronto. It's going to be a very... I feel like it's going to be a very, could be pretty magical in that arena and whatever, you know, however it perceives on TV, but I'm pretty damn excited to see Trish and Charlotte go at it, but it has got that feel, and it is, I mean, you would call it a dream match, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a match that you never thought you'd see. It's a dream match.
Yeah, it is, you know, after, you know, last year with Evolution and the first Women's Royal Rumble, Evolution to me, you know, watching Trish and Lita in that tag match to kick off Evolution last year, which, by the way, was a really good little match. If you know, some people forget about the whole event of Evolution outside of Becky and Charlotte and Ronda and Nikki. That opening tag match was really good, but that's a story for another day. But, you know, that really watching that, you've got to think, well, at least it ran through my mind, I don't know about you, Kevin, that was probably Trish Stratus' last match.
Yeah, I honestly thought like that you couldn't get much bigger than being on the first all-women's pay-per-view, but this is arguably a bigger moment for her.
Yeah, it's outside of, you know, I think the whole moment of Evolution, you know, the whole show was the moment, was the, oh my god, this is really happening. And everything kind of fired on all cylinders on that show, but now you take away the moment of, you know, this is an all-women's pay-per-view, and you're just taking that match for what it is, and it's magnifying SummerSlam as a whole, really, and it's adding to SummerSlam, and the fact that Charlotte Flair is Charlotte Flair, you know, she is, whether people want to admit it or not, people say what, you know, people argue this to the point, but I do think she is the best female worker they have in the company. I think she's one of the best workers in the company, period, of gender at this point. I really do think Charlotte is, well, she's naturally very, very, very good, and it is Trish Stratus, and people are quick to say about Trish being like, okay, she may not be able to hang with the you know, today's group of talent, but I don't think that's actually true, because I think Trish, people don't give Trish enough credit for what she actually did in the ring. They would just say, oh, she's a great performer. I don't think she's the greatest women's wrestler of all time. I don't think that at all, but Trish can go, and I think Evolution showed us last year that Trish can certainly hang with the best.
And plus, they're not going to make a match where Charlotte is going to clearly outshine Trish. They're going to sculpt a match in which Trish has a chance to shine, Charlotte has her chance to shine. It's not going to be like one-sided at all. It's going to be a great match, and it's going to showcase Trish's strengths even more than maybe they did at Evolution. Yeah,
because of course Trish was in a tag match, and she had Lita to bounce off of, and she was working with the likes of Mickey and Alicia Fox. You know, it's a very different match than Charlotte and Trish. I think there's maybe a little bit more pressure on Trish than there is Charlotte. I really do think that in a lot of ways, because Trish, hey, kayfabe or not, I had quotation marks there, but kayfabe or not, there is a lot to prove for both ladies, but there is a lot to prove for Trish, because Trish has been, you know, retired since, 2006? You know, she's wrestled sparingly since 2006, but that's 13 years of not being a full-time competitor, and she's watched this, you know, no pun intended, evolution happen with the girls, what they're doing now. She's got to be thinking like, oh my god, could I do that? Could I do what they're doing right now? That's got to be a thought that's going in her mind, and not to try and sell this match as like you know, I'm not trying to work anyone here, it's just what I genuinely think, but there's got to be a lot of pressure on both parts, because you know that Charlotte Flair is in that mentality of she wants to be the best, and she wants to steal the show all the time, and she has the opportunity to do it with someone on Trish's, you know, Trish's magnitude. Trish's just, she is that performer. She has a lot of name value. This has all the seeds to be really, really good.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be great. I have no doubt in my mind this is going to be a good match because Charlotte is Charlotte and Trish is Trish.
Yeah,
you have two great performers, and what we saw out of Trish at Evolution, while it wasn't like the biggest sample size, we saw that she could still go.
Yeah,
and we know Charlotte Flair can go.
Oh yeah,
she's one of the best of all time already. So they're going to put on an absolute banger. We're all going to love it. And that's that. Those are the facts.
Yeah, and it's just going to be just a real. I don't really have too much of a doubt in my mind that it won't be good. I do think it's pretty guaranteed that this match is going to be good. It's just how good is this match going to be, and just I think the crowd is going to be a big factor into this match, and I just feel like SummerSlam has got a lot behind it in general of just a lot of really cool matchups and stuff like that, but. With all this talk of Charlotte and Trish and now it being official, I've kind of been in my head and I'm like, what are some wrestling dream matches? Charlotte and Trish is something we never thought we would really see. What are some other wrestling dream matches that, we really don't think we'll ever see? I mean, these are the obvious ones of Sting and Taker. Like, that's a match that we will... Hey, you never say never in wrestling, but we'll probably never see that match that could have been, one of the... just most, I don't even know the word to describe it, just one of the coolest matches you could probably see visually in Sting and Taker. But when I say that to you, Kev, is there something that sticks out of wrestling dream matches that we'll probably never see?
Yeah, here's one for you. John Cena and Roddy Piper.
Hell.
Arguably the biggest, yeah.
Whoa.
Arguably the... Well, two huge names. One Hall of Famer, one no doubt future Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
But what I'm interested in is the war of words between these two leading into the match. Because you have Cena, who's like arguably one of the greatest face promos there is. And Roddy Piper, who is so damn good as a dastardly heel. I think the war of words would be fantastic. I think it'd be a generational clash, much like Trish and Charlotte. And I think the match itself would deliver too, because Roddy is an underrated in-ring worker, and Cena is an underrated in-ring worker.
Yeah, that's a good one that didn't even cross my mind. I mean,
that literally popped into my head 10 minutes ago.
Hell, like that. Again, like you said, the war of words between that would almost. Well, again, both are underrated in the ring, but I mean, the war of words between those two would just be. Oh man, that would just. Really throw you for a loop. I think Piper, well, it's kind of, very clear that a lot of people really got a lot of their they love Roddy Piper for his promos, and a lot of people kind of felt that and got into wrestling because of Roddy Piper. It's and then again, Cena is a very underrated promo in a lot of aspects. When Cena's on. Like, there is really he can become untouchable when he really gets his gears going. Cena is very, very good, both in the ring and on the microphone. But that'd be a really cool one. I know there's some other obvious ones, but I'm trying to not really think too obvious here. But what about like a let's really think here. I'm trying to go really outside of the box. Here's one. Eddie Guerrero versus Ricochet.
Ooh,
How good
I like
would
that.
Be?
I like that
really
a lot.
fun. Yeah, you have like the obvious high-flying style that both of these have, and especially Eddie's technical style mixing with Ricochet and the sheer size of these two. They're not the biggest dudes, in the yard, but they're certainly people that can really go. I think Eddie and Ricochet would have been really, really cool. Imagine, I'm talking 1998 WCW Eddie Guerrero, prime cruiserweight Eddie Guerrero versus a now version of Ricochet. Imagine that. It'd just be Imagine Ricochet in the WCW Cruiserweight division. Just like picture that.
Man, don't even get me started on how awesome that would be.
The WCW Cruiserweight division is just, hey, this is spiraling out of control, but that's the best thing for Wrestling Reverb. The WCW Cruiserweight division, well, at least in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinion, I think I'm pretty confident in saying this, but the WCW Cruiserweight division was kind of the glue that kept WCW going and being on top for as long as it was. Because you had, your stars in the main event, but the actual main event matches weren't really like, classic matches. A lot of them were just like, they're just fine, but you had star power. The classic matches in WCW's history are all from the undercard, from like the Cruiserweight division and, some other things, but the Cruiserweight division is something that really kept it together. You take, who's some stars from now that would just be perfect for the Cruiserweight division in WCW? Because I think there could be a lot of cool, matchups that we could have got from now and then. But is there any people that stick out in your brain that could kind of really fit really well into the WCW Cruiserweight division?
Well, Ricochet's number one, definitely.
Yeah.
A guy like Grand Metalik, I think would fit really well because they had a lot of Latino flavor in that WCW Cruiserweight division.
Yeah, you had like Juvi Guerrero and you had all different people. Psychosis, man.
Yeah, oh, getting me hot.
But there is a lot of people, even like, you think of people like, imagine a Daniel Bryan in a WCW Cruiserweight division. His technical wrestling in that Cruiserweight division, working the likes of Dean Malenko and Chris Jericho and Eddie Ray, list goes on and on. Someone like Bryan in that Cruiserweight division would have been really cool because of all the styles. That's what the Cruiserweight division in WCW so great, is that it wasn't just they're just doing, flying off of crap. There was a lot of that and it was awesome, but there was this mix of really, really great wrestlers within the Cruiserweight division, like Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko and Jericho and whoever, but there really was that really great wrestling. Bryan would fit in there perfectly.
Yeah, I like that take a lot. I love Daniel Bryan. He could do both. He could fly and he could wrestle. And I think that was the main thing. If you wanted to be a great cruiserweight, you could fly, but you had to know how to wrestle. And there's a lot of guys today that, just fly. But there's also a lot of guys that really have it down pat with wrestling and, chain wrestling technical ability. Guys like Cedric Alexander, guys like Drew Gulak, I think would be terrific in that division.
Yeah, Drew, I think if we really thought about this, we could probably just name a lot of people that would just be fantastic in that division and just really make that division, even bigger and better than it was. Because WCW's Cruiserweight division, like I said, was really the glue that kind of kept WCW together when the NWO was running wild and whatever it may be. And of course, WCW, Nitro, was a little bit before my time of wrestling. Really, it was, but of course I've watched it and grown to really love Nitro. I love the way that Nitro was presented. I thought was really cool, and it was different than Raw, especially at the time. Raw was a lot more gritty than Nitro, but Nitro had that more of a reality feel. I don't know, but it was just, the Attitude Era was a wild time, both before our time started watching wrestling, and we're kind of looking at it through a very different set of eyes, because I really didn't watch a lot of the Attitude Era until I was older. You're the same, I know that.
Yeah, it's that we definitely look at it differently because we weren't there for it.
Yeah. It's a shame. I would have loved to be watching wrestling during the Monday Night Wars, because what a time it was, and what a time it was to be a wrestling fan. Do you think we'll ever replicate that time ever again?
Honestly, no. I don't think we'll ever get back to that.
No, it is, and it's a shame because, again, it was just a wild, fun competitive, chaotic time. I think a lot of people strive for that competitiveness now with AEW, and that's not. They are going to be two different programs, and they're not going to be competing head to head. They're not going to be. It is going to be two different things, and of course, no matter how much I say, like, you know, I don't want that, there is a little part of me that would have loved to see AEW on a Monday night and really go against Raw to replicate that time. But I mean, we've seen it briefly with TNA in 2010, and it just did not work. I think it is two very different programs that they're going to be presenting, and no matter how many people want to fuel it, and no matter how many people want to, you know, really want it, it's just, they're not direct competition with each other.
Yeah, I don't look at them as actual comp. I look at them as sort of supplementing one another rather than being competitors. I think that you get your fix of one thing with AEW, you get your fix of another thing with WWE. I think watching them both will sort of complete the total package for people. I don't think they're like competitors, though.
Yeah, and I'm going to be... I mean, I watch AEW with a different mindset than when I watch WWE. It's... Even when I'm watching the pay-per-views, I'm not expecting the same type of, you know, presentation, program, wrestling. I'm watching two different shows. It is like two different TV shows. I'm not watching The Simpsons and expecting the same out of 13 Reasons Why. They're two different shows. I mean, there's obviously TV shows that kind of, you know, there's sitcoms and then there's comedies and then there's dramas, but they just happen to both feature wrestling. That's the only common ground I think we're going to get with AEW's product and WWE's product. And I think while they'll be aware of the other one going on, I don't think they're going to be like directly like, they did this, so we're going to do this. I just don't think that's a thing in this day and age anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But hey, AEW's coming up. It was obviously announced AEW is going to be on TNT, and it's, October the 4th, I believe is the date. I could be wrong. I don't know.
October 2nd or 3rd or 4th. It's in that frame, in that week.
Something like that. It's a big week for wrestling fans, to be honest. You got AEW on TNT, you got SmackDown moving to Fox. It's going to be a pretty big week in terms of what's kind of going down. Now, I know I said I haven't read any wrestling dirt sheets, but one of the things that I did see before muting this account was the fact that WWE may be doing a kind of new feel, a new look feel. It was on the WrestleVotes Twitter account, and I've always kind of, whenever I'm reading wrestling dirt sheets, those were the ones I always kind of took and been like, okay, I respect that one. They're not douchebags, and they're usually right about things. But anyway, it was a couple of days ago, or it might have been yesterday that I seen it before I muted it, was the fact that WWE have purchased new cameras, and the way that they're going to film SmackDown when it goes to Fox is going to be more of a cinematic feel, and it's going to be more reminiscent of the WWE 24 specials. That's all I read about it. I didn't kind of click the link or anything like that. But if WWE were to change up their presentation, way of their filming and the way they present SmackDown, is that going to deter you in any way? Because I know that I am very like, it like WWE looks like WWE, and I'm very used to it looking like a WWE program, and I'm happy with the way that it's presented. Are you okay if it was to change the way it looked?
Yeah, I think it would. I think it could be better. I think that I love the way those 24 specials look, and I love the cinematic feel to TV and to just, sport in general. I love that feel. You only have to look at like a Lucha Underground to see what that would look like, that cinematic feel, like the camera work. And I love the way it looked in Lucha Underground. So I am very open to that idea here in WWE.
Yeah, I'm like treading water with it. I'm okay with it, but it's like, I don't know. I'm not a big person that's like, I like change, but I also hate change. I'm that person that's just indecisive. So I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it, but we'll see if it happens, if it turns out to be true. But hey, in any case, maybe it will make it look different from Raw, and maybe that's what Fox want. Who knows? Something I do want to bring up with Fox coming up, it's coming up very rapidly, and the fact that we're still in the mix of what they're still calling the wild card rule, I think. I don't even think they mention the wild card rule on TV anymore now that I really think about it. I haven't heard that term in quite a little while. At this point, I'm pretty sure that the brand split it's pretty much over, which is, again, we've talked about that plenty of times on this show, and it's whatever it is, it's fine. We're both kind of like, if you're going to end it, let's just end it. But is it time to, I think after SummerSlam, as we head in towards Fox with SmackDown and everything else, is it time for a little bit of a refresh with some championships, with some stories? Is this going to be a little bit of like a nice hard reset? You've got Bischoff, you've got Heyman. Is the change still going to be gradual, or are we just going to kind of go to SummerSlam and then go, okay, let's kind of start fresh?
It could be. It could definitely be like something where, you get through SummerSlam, you make SummerSlam like your WrestleMania, and then afterwards you start fresh. And, whether that entails championships changing hands at SummerSlam, I don't know. I personally don't think, in the case of Kofi Kingston, that he should lose the title. But I would understand if you did. Like, if you want to start fresh and you want to have a champion to, sort of be your number one guy to start the day, I think Randy Orton would actually be a good candidate for that.
Yeah.
So I could see him beating Kofi Kingston, although I don't want him to. But that would be like the best way to refresh for SmackDown, at least. Is you want to refresh, you put a new champion out there, you get some new superstars up maybe, and you just go from there.
Yeah, and I think in the case of Randy and Kofi, it could go either way, and I'm fine with either way. Regardless of if Kofi was to lose at SummerSlam, Kofi has had a pretty damn good championship reign. In recent memory, he really has been one of the better WWE champions. He rarely loses. He's always a very defending champion. And that's hard to say in this day and age. What I'm about to say is that he's a very good babyface champion, because it's so easy with everyone's short attention spans for people to just get sick of babyfaces with the championship. It's always better when the babyface chases the heel. But in this case, I really have nothing at remotely all bad to say about Kofi's title run. If it was to end at SummerSlam, it's been a damn good run from WrestleMania to SummerSlam.
Yeah, you don't often see babyfaces hold the championship for that long, precisely because of what you said. It's a lot more interesting to see the babyface chasing the heel. But Kofi's reign, I don't know the last time Kofi he tapped out to Samoa Joe, or he went to sleep at Samoa Joe's hands a couple of weeks ago before Extreme Rules, but he's been so well booked. He's been so well loved. I don't think the glow on him has diminished.
No.
He's done a really great job with that belt.
Yeah, and I think people were, well, at least in my mind, I was like, the moment of, Kofi winning was going to be the pinnacle, and it was like, oh my god, he's won at WrestleMania. I really didn't think too much beyond that. I was just like, once Kofi actually won the championship, I'm like, oh, Kofi Kingston's now the champion. There has to be a championship run that, precedes him winning the title, and I never in my mind got past Mania. So anything between after Mania up until right now has just been kind of an added bonus. I really didn't, as stupid as it sounds, I just didn't expect a title reign. If you get what I mean, like I just expected that moment and then be like, oh wait a minute, he's the champ. But it's just been like, he has lost, I'm looking at it right now, I've got it up on Google, he has lost 2 times in singles, he's lost 2 times in tag team matches since his WWE title win, and he's lost 1 singles match since his WWE title win. That's pretty damn impressive. There's not any champion that could really say that. Champions always lose, especially in WWE land. So he's lost 3 times since Mania.
It's been 3 months. More like 4 months. That's crazy. That is how you book a champ. That is how you should book a champion. They should be damn near unbeatable.
Yeah, I agree completely. There really isn't too many champions that have had that kind of success, really. Maybe the only other one that I can really think of in the recent memory is Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Rousey's the only one, but that was a little bit, I wouldn't say Ronda wasn't wrestling every week. She was wrestling majority of the time, so I can't even say that. But Ronda would be the only one, I mean, other than Brock, but Brock wasn't there every week. Brock was there, sparingly, or is there sparingly, I should say. Speaking of Brock, I know you haven't watched Raw this week, but I'm sure you've seen clips or at least pictures of what he did to Seth Rollins this week.
Yeah, yucky.
He beat the absolute piss out of Seth Rollins. Holy shit.
I some of the things I saw, the two F5s he took, one on the chair, one on the friggin' stretcher.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God. I can't believe those are dangerous spots.
That's oh, man, Seth was coughing up blood. It was, you know what, like, I'm not the biggest Brock fan. I'm pretty sure it's pretty obvious that I'm not. However, I'm also not the biggest Seth Rollins fan. I never really have been either. They're just kind of like, okay, they're fine. Stuff like that is cool because Brock wasn't advertised for Raw. They didn't say he was going to be there, so it was cool to see a Brock surprise, which is sparingly that we see a Brock surprise with the, occasional, like, the Money in the Bank win and that, okay. But everything else is pretty much like, Brock's going to be here. Brock wasn't advertised, and then when he come out and beat the absolute... When Brock beats up someone, there's really not too many people that can beat up someone better than, Brock. Brock really is good at destroying people. That's probably his biggest quality as a, WWE superstar, is the fact that he just can decimate people and make it look like they're in a world of pain. He does that pretty well, and Seth is really good at getting beat up, which is really weird to say, but Seth is just really good at that. And it just kind of meshed really well. Going into SummerSlam, I mean, we've seen them wrestle a handful of times, and most recently at WrestleMania. And the match, the way the match went was just, Brock destroyed, and then Seth come back and hit a few curb stomps and won. Are you expecting, for this to be the closer of SummerSlam as opposed to the opener of WrestleMania? And B, do you expect more of a match between these two this time?
Yes and yes. I expect this to close the show. I would say it should close the show.
Yeah.
And then I think that we're going to get more of an actual wrestling. I think we're going to get more of a match sort of like, Lesnar and Daniel Bryan, or a Lesnar AJ Styles match from Survivor Series the last 2 years. I think that's what we're going to get, and I'm excited for it because we really haven't seen these two have that genuine match. You think back, Rollins interfered in Lesnar's match at WrestleMania 31. They had that match for, I think it was Payback that year, but that was when Undertaker came back and interfered. They haven't really had that one-on-one match. Legit match.
Yeah, and I do agree with you. It really should close the show because there's nothing really on that level at this point anyway. We're only, a week from this weekend is SummerSlam. It's not this Sunday, the next in America land. It's Monday for me, but it is there really isn't anything on its level at the moment. And yeah, I do agree as well. I think we are going to get a little bit more of a wrestling match between these two and an actual back and forth competitive match because say what you want about Brock, but Brock can go with people, especially when he wants to. If Brock wants to, he can. It's just a matter of what mood Brock's in, I think. And what's the kind of motive. I really do think Brock likes working with people smaller than him. I think he feels more comfortable because he can just toss them around. Like, look at all of his best matches in in his last run have been with Seth. Well, not so much Seth. AJ, Bryan. He had a couple of good matches with Taker, but that's different because it's Taker, and I think anything Taker does, with the exception of Goldberg, is always pretty good. A few more matches that are kind of coming up at SummerSlam. Of course, we talked about Trish and Charlotte. Ember Moon and Bayley. That has got an interesting little run going on with them kind of, taking some shots at each other and whatever it may be. A lot of people are expecting a lot from this match. I can see it being very good, but my problem is, well, not my problem, my take on it is that if any match out of the 12 current matches that are announced for SummerSlam, I believe, or 11, if any match is going to take some time cut, it's probably going to be Bayley and Ember.
You're probably right. It sucks, because I'm looking forward to this match possibly more than any other. But I think you're right. I think this match is probably going to go not entirely by the wayside, but I don't think they're going to get a lot of time.
No, because there's only so much time on a card, and especially with SummerSlam, I think they try to get as many people on the card as possible. And nonetheless, it will still be fun, and I said it today on Twitter. It's not all about time. You can still maximize your minutes and have a fun match within 8 minutes. It's very much possible. Very, very much possible. A few other matches that, of course, are happening at SummerSlam. You've got Ziggler and Miz, which, I mean, that we've seen them wrestle 100,000 times. It's always, they never have bad matches. There's not a lot of, I mean, it's just another match on the card at this point for me. Ziggler and Miz.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's like you said, they don't have bad matches, and we haven't seen them go 1-on-1 in 3 years. I'm excited.
Yeah, 3 years, 2 years, something like that. Sami Zayn and Aleister Black. Hey, that'll be fun, but it could get a little rough, being the fact that Sami's from Canada. I mean, not that they'll boo Aleister Black, but they'll really like Sami Zayn. But I mean, Sami's pretty good at just being like, fuck y'all, so, I mean... Yeah,
they'll have him cut some sort of promo on his way to the ring. He'll alienate the fans real quick. He's really good at that.
Yeah, of course, Owens and Shane, if Owens loses, he quits. Owens is gonna... I mean, at this point, Owens, it's like, he must win this match for this to all make sense. Owens has to win this match.
There's no way he loses. There's just no way.
See, the problem is with me is that because they're in Canada, right? Owens could lose and do the quit thing and then come back in a few weeks, like, similar to the CM Punk kind of deal, years back. The fact that it's in Canada, and is that too much free action for WWE to avoid? Especially, you can never, ever count out a McMahon. Ever. Ever.
Yeah, I know. Especially Shane right now. He's on such a hot streak, which is ridiculous to say, but he really is.
Yeah, of course there's a bunch of other matches. We've got Becky and Natty, which should be fun. A bunch of other matches that we'll probably more so talk about next week, going into SummerSlam and whatever it may be. Speaking of SummerSlam, subtle plug here. Next Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern with a 6 p.m. kickoff in America Land. We're going to do a BBR TV SummerSlam simulation. Make sure you join me. Queen will be on the kickoff with me, and then I'm going to host this one on my own this time, changing it up a little bit. I've got some really cool stuff planned, so make sure you join twitch.tv/BBRTV. But we'll talk about SummerSlam a little more next week. I want to pick your brain so badly on this, Kevin, because we have not had the chance to talk about it. Maria Kanellis is the 24/7 champion. Now, the 24/7 championship has been openly acknowledged now by WWE that it's fun and that it's really, really, a lot of people love it. I think, I could probably nearly say 80% of people really dig this because it's just silly and it's fun and you don't have to think about it, at least in my brain. But this week we saw Mike Kanellis win the championship, and then, of course, Maria said she was going to kick him in his vagina, made him lay down like he always does, she said, lay on his back, and then pin him. Now, this is a really golden opportunity, in my opinion, for the 24/7 championship, because who wants to beat up a pregnant lady? Nobody. No one wants to pin a pregnant woman. It's just, she can really ponder this around and be like, I'm pregnant, you can't touch me, I'm going to be the champion for at least as long as my pregnancy lasts. Of course there has to be a plan here, because you can't just put the championship on a pregnant woman and then be like, we'll figure it out in a few weeks. There obviously has to be some kind of plan with this, but first and foremost, Kevin, are you a fan of this?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm a fan of it because, like, how do you take the belt off her? You can't. The 24/7 championship is a belt that has to sort of has to sort of hop around. That's the appeal to it. And also the wacky antics. But, like, I feel like a lot of the wacky antics sort of go out the window when you're dealing with a pregnant woman because you can't really do too much with her. So I'm thinking they get the belt off her, like, this week somehow, and it goes back to being the fun belt. But I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't hate it. I haven't hated a single thing that they've done with this belt. So
no, I really like it because in my mind, there's a few different ways you can go. Obviously, you could have Mike win it back. Maybe when Maria's sleeping or something like that, Mike could pin her. You could have... See, here's the thing with R-Truth. R-Truth is so silly and so comedic that you could nearly have him dress up as a doctor. Why she told everyone that she's going to her, whatever it's called, the appointment where she goes and gets everything checked out to make sure everything's going well with the pregnancy. She told everyone that she was going there on Thursday. Could you not think that Carmella and R-Truth could do something without, hurting Maria, without, beating Maria up because she is a pregnant woman? Is there something they could do there? Because the comedy of R-Truth mixed with just, the way that Maria is as a heel, there almost could be something there. I'm not confident in saying that it will happen, but I could nearly picture R-Truth being in a doctor's outfit at this point.
Yeah, you could slip her some anesthetic and pin her while she's out cold.
Don't put it past... Hey, you know what? I'd be so down with that, to be completely honest. But it's certainly... Hey, she is right. There has never been a pregnant WWE champion ever. So, I mean, she did make history in that respect. She's the one and only pregnant champion they've ever had. I like the first, with Raw Reunion last week, and we've now opened up another kind of avenue here because now women are winning the 24/7 championship. So this could really, there's a lot that could happen with it, and I'm all for it. The tag match at the very beginning of Raw was fun. R-Truth got like a monstrous pop, by the way. R-Truth is like low-key organically become one of the most fun acts on television. Like, I'm talking like he was always fun, but he's really like up there. Like, you could put him up there with anybody and he's like pretty damn over, which is fun because I love R-Truth. How can you really hate R-Truth?
Who doesn't like R-Truth? I mean, he's been so funny for so long.
Yeah.
It's like almost like 6-7 years now, it feels like. Yeah. That he's doing the comedic shtick, and he's been so good at it for so long, and he's upped his game to where he's even funnier now than he was, say, 2-3 years ago, which I would have thought impossible. Because when he was doing the shtick where he like didn't realize what was going on, he came out to the Royal Rumble and got a ladder. He thought he was in the Money in the Bank match. That shit was funny. He thought he was on SmackDown. That was great, but this is even better.
He is just... the man doesn't age. Let's just put that out there. He's nearly 50 years old, and he looks like he's in his 30s, so props to R-Truth. Whatever water he is drinking, I want some for when I'm older. Yeah. And you're right. He's firing on all the cylinders. Even if you don't love R-Truth, I just don't think it's possible to hate that man. And not only that, I think a lot of people forget how good of a unit him and Carmella are. They play with each other really, 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 really well. At the first, I was like, Carmella and R-Truth, I'm like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't think this is going to work. And hey, slap me silly because, god dang, they have they found their little spot within the show. And 24/7 title, and I just want to ride this wave as long as we can with it. Obviously, I think it's gonna have a little bit of a... I think there is... It's timed in the sense of I don't think this could go on for years and years and years because chaos can only be entertaining before it gets a little bit like But I'm certainly not saying it's stopping anytime soon. But I'm just trying to ride the wave out as long as I can with it because it's just pure fun where I do not have to think about a single damn thing. I'm just like got a smile on my face because it's just silly. And sometimes there is a lot to say about silliness and comedy within wrestling. It's certainly an element of wrestling. It may not be like the most prominent or it may not be your favorite, but it's always been there. Comedy in wrestling has always been a thing, and this is like what it's probably in total like 15 minutes of Raw or 20 minutes of Raw in total with all the segments that they place. And it's just like, hey, it's just placed in Raw nicely. It's placed on SmackDown nicely. It's just really, really fun. And Maria being the champion, I do think it opens up some things, and we'll see where it goes. Hopefully it can change your mind from don't know to I love this.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, too. Just given the track record of the 24/7 title, I'm sure it'll turn me around.
Isn't it crazy when that title first kind of got revealed? It was just so ugly that everyone was like, this is not going to be fun. And then it was just like kind of running around, and we're like, ooh. And then within a week, I was like, this shit is fucking fun. And then it just kind of was like, all systems are going with this, and now it's openly acknowledged on the program that it is one of the most fun things on the program, and it just we'll see where it goes, but just fun. More, please, just give me more of the 24/7 title. Man, we've had kind of like a little bit of a mixed bag of everything. We had some dream matches on this show. We talked SummerSlam. We really kind of went in a route that I didn't think we were, but hey, that's when we work best. We've said that many times.
Yeah.
SummerSlam is the end of next week. We got All Out at the end of next month. We've got so many things to look forward to with wrestling coming up. It is really funny. All Out, I did kind of mention just then, All Out is coming up. There's some things happening on that show. I'm assuming you're excited for All Out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what's not to be excited about? Mox and Omega.
Yeah.
Just think about that. That's crazy. Mox is killing it right now in the G1. Spoiler alert for anyone who's not caught up yet. I know I'm behind. I'm only on day 6. I think they've had 11 days. So spoiler alert if you don't want to know what's going on, turn it off now. Mox is 5-0. He is leading the pack.
Damn. Which
Did
is,
not think.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people expected that. I mean, for someone like me who does not watch, I did not expect him to be doing that well because of his association with AEW. I didn't think he'd be doing, well, at least undefeated. That, in my mind, that's how I was kind of operating. But, wow. Good job. He's kind of killing it, to be honest. Everywhere he kind of goes, he's kind of owning him. He's owning who Jon Moxley is. It is really nice to see that he's genuinely enjoying what he's doing. I mean, I don't like to be that guy, but it seems like he is genuinely enjoying what he's doing.
Oh my God, yeah. And he's found that level of excellence that he had before WWE again. He's putting out some great matches, some great brawls. And he's just a lot of fun to watch again. And you could tell he's having fun, which in turn makes it more fun to watch him.
Yeah, I agree completely. Mox is great. But yeah, All Out is coming up with Jericho and Hangman Page. We've got, who's Cody working? Sean Spears?
Yeah, probably, yeah. I think so.
Is that announced? I don't know if that's official, but, I mean, it is all but official. AEW's cool. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see where it goes. I had my thoughts on kind of Fight for the Fallen and stuff like that and everything like that. But All Out will be fun. It's in Chicago, so it's a hotbed for wrestling. It'll be a hot crowd. We got SummerSlam. We got a lot to look forward to. I'm kind of in a good zone with wrestling at the moment. It is a lot of fun to me. So, hey, more of this, more of the good shit that's going on because I'm just enjoying it. I'm just really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a good time for wrestling. There's so much going on right now. The summer months are really heating up, and it's only going to get hot.
Heating up.
Yeah, you like that?
I mean, whoa, when you say it like that, no. Fuck no.
Oh.
I mean, you kind of, I don't know.
Oh.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Hey, I was going to say something. I completely lost my train of thought. Whatever. It's fun to be watching wrestling at the moment. We're in a nice little period of just like funness. And is funness a word? Funness.
I don't know that. I do not know on that one.
Yeah, I don't know either. It is now funness. That's what I'm going to call this episode. Funness.
Reminds me of Funyuns.
What's a Funyun? Is that like on your...
Oh my god.
What is a Funyun?
It's like it's clearly an American thing.
Is it though, or am I just stupid? Funyun.
It's like I'm looking it up because they're like little I don't want to call them potato chips. They look like onion rings. Funyuns.
They're American. I don't know what the fuck they are. Funyuns. Are they meant to be fun onions?
Basically, yeah.
Oh boy. You guys have
Which is like tough to sell, if you're just trying to sell Funyuns to somebody, just saying they're fun onion snacks doesn't really do it.
I mean, it
but
doesn't
that's
really
what they
sound
are.
like... I mean, I'm not going to sign up and be like, yo, send me some fucking Funyuns. But hey, whatever. America has some different snacks to us. I mean, I'm pretty certain that we probably would have them here in this country somewhere. I haven't had them. But Funyuns. Alright, I remember that. Cool then. What a way to end the show on Funyuns. Funyuns. Well, until next week on Wrestling Reverb, we will see you for some SummerSlam fun next week. I'm sure we will talk all things SummerSlam and we'll give you all of our predictions for SummerSlam. But until then, we are signing off. Thank you for listening to this week. Make sure you rate us 5 stars on iTunes. It helps us in the algorithms of things and it puts us up there, and give us some love, whatever device or streaming service you're listening on. Make sure you follow us. Follow Brainbusta Radio, because we're doing a lot of fun stuff and we've got some really fun things planned as just a group. But for us, we've got a lot of things going on as well. Kevin's working his little tail off to, with this new job. So we're changing all of our times to make sure that we can still have Kevin on the show. Because I could just be an arsehole and be like, you can't record at this time? Well, fuck you. I'm not having you on. But I am not that person, because I want to keep Kevin on this.
Thanks for not doing that.
Yeah, because it doesn't make any difference to me, really. But, of course, Kevin has to stay on this show. Kevin has to stay on this damn show. Make sure you also check out The Josh Robinson Show every single Tuesday. Just type in The Josh Robinson Show and you'll find it. Dits vs. Josh is of course, going on. Make sure you go to Twitter, Dits vs. Josh at Twitter, and vote for me. Vote red so then I can win, because I haven't been getting very many wins lately, and I don't like that, because I like to win.
I voted for Dits.
Yeah, so did my dang sister. She was talking to me yesterday and she's like, she's like, I kept seeing the poll come up, and she's like, the last 2 weeks I voted for Dits. I was like, you are the worst. And she's just like smiling at me. I'm like, I'm gonna, I'll get her back.
I did not actually vote for Dits.
I know, you're being a jerk off. I know you didn't. You would have voted for me. Yes. Everyone listening to this, make sure you go and vote for me, because I really want to rub it in Dits' face. Hey, shout out to Dits on Wrestling. He's a good dude, but I also want to destroy him. So, there's that.
Good dude, I just want to pound his face into the fucking pavement.
You know what? Yeah, that's right. Dits. I know Dits is listening to this as well. Dits, exactly what Kevin said. Just remember that. Anyway, until next week on Wrestling Reverb, we will see you next time. Peace out.
Let the animals